formation at the front there. It's calling the team into 9 Arrow now, and as they change, I can tell you that Baz is a former Harrier GR7 pilot. He served on 1 and 4 squadrons, and he's also a weapons instructor on the Harrier. He went to Loughborough Grammar School. He's got a degree in geography from the University of Newcastle, and he loves running, kite surfing, and wearing his Barbie fancy dress costume, which we've already seen 3 times this year, and it's enough to make a grown man cry. And the smoke comes on now as they pass down the front of the display line in 9 Arrow. The aircraft here are about 6 to 8 feet apart in this formation. Watch now as the smoke goes off. Reds 8 and 9 will barrel roll back to form a formation we call Fred. Now Fred might sound like a bit of a ridiculous name for a formation, but it's short for feathered arrow. And as they start a right-hand bend now, you'll be able to see the shape of that feathered arrow. Back there it is. That's Baz calling the team to cranked arrow, acknowledged by 8 and 9, which are the 2 aircraft with the smoke on. Now the man in the very highest position is Red 9, Flight Lieutenant Simon Ray, known as Kermit, because of the way he sounds on the radio, just like Kermit the Frog. He's a Kiwi, and he joined the Royal New Zealand Air Force first and flew Skyhawks with them before coming to the Royal Air Force in 2002, where he went on to fly the Harrier GR7 and GR9. He served on 3 squadrons, so he's seen several operational tours in Afghanistan, where the jets provide close air support to our troops on the ground and also those of our NATO allies. So ladies and gentlemen, here's the team now as they pull off in cranked arrow to fly the cranked arrow roll. At the top there, they're at about 2,500 feet. Now for the outside men, this is a difficult formation to fly. Kermit on the far left-hand side is making big power changes and using a lot of rudder there to stay in formation. Kermit incidentally can also touch type at 60 words a minute, a skill he learnt in New Zealand. And of course we don't banter him one bit about that on the team. That's Red 1 calling the team to diamond formation. Now diamonds are a girl's best friend, and it's time to explain that 2010 is a very special year for the Red Arrows. For this year we have our first female pilot on the team, Red 3, Flight Lieutenant Kirsty Hall, and she flies in the position immediately to the left of the leader, so you can probably identify her up there now as they turn in towards us, flying the diamond chicane. Kirsty was born at RAF Nocton Hall in Lincolnshire. She's the daughter of a Tornado GR1 navigator, and she spent her early days in life at RAF Marham in the crew room or the planning room of 27 Squadron, giving the Tornado crews advice about planning, and that's what inspired her to join the Royal Air Force. She's been a flying instructor on the Hawk at RAF Valley, and she served on 13 Squadron at RAF Marham, where she served on operations in Iraq. Right now though, she's in Diamond as they fly past us in the Diamond 9. Is Tango go 23 go 89, but the guys at the back there hamming it up. This is Tango formation for obvious reasons. It's an unforgiving formation. The 2 straight lines you see there mean that the smallest errors in the positions of the pilots mean that the formation looks a bit untidy. Looks like they're making a good job of it today though. As they turn in towards us now, Baz calls for the smoke to come on as he tightens this bend up to about 3G now and 400 miles an hour here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Tango. For the smoke to come off and the change to Apollo formation. Apollo is named after the Eagle landing craft of the Apollo 11 space missions, which obviously went to the moon in 1969. Now all the pilots hold their position in all of our formations by reference to the lead aircraft. So they're all looking at Red 1 at the front, that's Baz. You can imagine then that those aircraft towards the back and the sides of the formation probably find it quite difficult to see him because there are other aircraft in the way. That's why we spend 8 months of the year training up to build the trust amongst the pilots that everybody's going to be in the right position for the whole time. And that's how they do it. Sounds easy, doesn't it? So they formed Apollo formation as they run in towards us now for a great manoeuvre called the Apollo Twister. And the man in the highest position as we look at them now, just as they're rolling out, he's on the far left as we look at them, is Red 4, Flight Lieutenant Dave Davis. Known as Horse, the reasons for that are known to but a few in the Royal Air Force. And he's a former Tornado F3 pilot and flying instructor on the Hawk, where we teach our new pilots how to fly fast jets at RAF Valley. He's on his second year in the team. He's smoking red on the right-hand side of the formation there now. As Baz tightens the bend up and you watch the Apollo Twister. Initiated with voice commands, and that's how we managed to maintain a rigid formation. Baz is calling the team to Blackbird formation now. This is a long and wide formation, and it's named after the SR-71 Blackbird, the strategic reconnaissance aircraft of the US Air Force. Difficult formation to fly, and as we look at them, the man at the far back left of the formation, the highest man out there at the moment, is Red 5 Flight Lieutenant Zane Sennett, a very charming man and a former Harrier pilot. In fact, last year I used to joke in my commentary that he was the second best looking man on the team after me, until somebody at Bournemouth told me I wasn't very good looking at all. And he's the only single guy on the team, so I was ruining his life. So I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to let him do the talking as they fly past now in Blackbird. Zane is a nice man. In fact, he served on 4 operational tours of duty in Afghanistan with the Harrier Force. And he's also a very keen supporter of rugby. Okay, as they come right now, I can tell you that this year is the 70th anniversary of the Battle of Britain. In fact, we've already seen the Battle of Britain memorial fly today. In the Red Arrows, we wanted to mark our debt of thanks to all of those who took part in that conflict in the summer of 1940. And this next manoeuvre is for all of those. In fact, it's probably our most patriotic manoeuvre, and the team now have formed Spitfire formation, or Hurricane if you prefer. You can choose. The manoeuvre is called the Victory Roll, and it's the Red Arrows way of saying thank you in a heartfelt way to everybody who took part in the conflict of the Battle of Britain in 1940. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Victory Roll. Behind Red 1, providing the fuselage of our Spitfire or Hurricane, are Reds 6 and 7, the synchro pair. And with the white smoke on at the back is Red 7, Flight Lieutenant Dave Montenegro, known as Monty, and with a name like Montenegro, not surprisingly, he was born in Colombia. But he came back to the UK at the age of 1, and he grew up in Dulwich, where he went to Elaine School. After going to university in Manchester, he joined the Royal Air Force and went on to be a flying instructor on the Hawk, again at RAF Valley. And later flew the Tornado F3, which provides the UK's air defence, and also that of the Falkland Islands. It's his second year on the team. He's the synchro number 2, and we'll see a bit more of him later on. Now the team are moving into Phoenix formation, our widest formation, some 100 metres between Reds 8 and 9 on the very outside positions. It's a difficult formation to fly, and it means that those pilots next to the leader need to be very stable. One of those is Red 2, sat immediately to Baz's right. That's Flight Lieutenant Benjamin Plank, the second of the 2 first years on the team this year. And he's another former Harrier pilot. In fact, he's got a degree in geography too, which makes 3 Harrier pilots on the team with geography degrees. They ought to be good at reading maps. Plank is the youngest member on the team. He's the baldest, and he also drives the worst car, which is a turquoise Mazda MX-5. He claims it's his wife's, but I don't believe him. Top out in this manoeuvre, they're about a mile above us. The speed of the aircraft is now back to about 200 miles an hour. Although that might sound